What is sustainable fashion? With a new collection being released every week and styles changing all the time, the size of our wardrobes can seem a little bit suffocating. But what we wear is really important, and I don't know about you guys, but I sometimes find that wanting to look good but also dress sustainably can be a really tricky line to tread. So is there a way to be sustainable and look great this year? Yes, of course there is, and if you subscribe to our channel we're going to be talking more about this all year, so you can come back and get some more info. This week, me and some of my friends went to visit Christopher Raeburn, the man redefining ethical fashion by making clothes from everything from parachutes to lifeboats.
So let's go and check out the studio.
So when I was 20, that was the first Remade piece. So when I was at university first year, and actually my first menswear piece, I made it myself, and it was made from 1950s British battle dress jackets.
Cool.
They were our invites for this season.
Oh, that's such a good idea. Is this like a little parachute invite?
Feel free to drop it.
I'd go.
Messages in bottles. Basically, we always try and do things people aren't going to just throw away. All of this stuff is, of course, sustainable in its own way, but it's just clever ways of kind of getting people to interact with what you're all about. For our customer and for our fan, they're really interested in the narrative and what we're doing and why, and therefore go to that much more effort. Because it would be so easy just to do, an A6 card and put the details on it. And basically, we try and do less but better. Japanese hand grenade.
Is it?
When they ran out of metal, they started making them in ceramics, but it's just such a beautiful object.
Yeah,
That for me, it's always about that next step.
that's fascinating.
This season, we're re-releasing because it was so popular. We did it 2 years ago, and whenever we have anything with the shark print, it sells out. So now we're doing it fully organic. Well, the whole collection was based around these life rafts. I bought all of these 25-man life rafts and then built the whole collection around that, and the shark obviously made sense. And what we do as well is then we normally donate towards a specific charity. That season I think we adopted like a great white shark, and then we've of course donated to the Orangutan Foundation. And we also made whole outfits for the Great Ormond Street that all got auctioned. That side of what we do is really important. One of the good and bad things for us was that we grew quite quickly. And so what we've done recently is just come back to actually why I started the company to begin with and focus on 3 key areas, which is the remade, recycled and reduced, and by reduced it's organic cotton, local manufacturing, recycled synthetics, of course, PET plastics. And actually, as a business now, we agreed we're not doing 1 or 2 or ideally all 3 of those things, we're not going to do it. And actually, if done in the right way, that opens up every opportunity if you're doing 1 or 2 or ideally all 3 of those things. Yeah, and that's the way I always look at it, rather than always thinking you need to make something new. So often you really, really don't.
So when you source a piece of material, how do you know that it's got good potential?
For us, what we're always looking for is the functionality of the original item. The reason I suppose that we work a lot with the parachutes, for example, is that you have something really hard wearing, wind resistant, sometimes waterproof as well, and importantly in quite high volume. Actually, sometimes the original item will dictate the collection, whereas other times I'm kind of clearer on what I'm looking for with a collection, and then you're looking for the fabrics. So an example, finding the life raft, and then actually just from finding one raft, I was like, wow, I could kind of imagine what the whole collection would be like.
So if you had any advice for like me and Katie, for example, being students, how would you suggest that we lessen our impact on fast fashion at home?
It's good that you're thinking about it and take it in the right way, because I think we all have an obligation to consider what we're consuming, not just clothing, food, everything. It has to be about less but better, and it has to be about considered choice wherever you can. And it's not always about going out and buying something new. I have just such an opportunity now with all of that stuff that's already out there to then kind of curate your own look and the way that you sort of want to dress. For the first time I'm doing up my own little flat in South London. My only thought was that I'm just going to buy things at second hand.
So you were kind of talking earlier that you didn't come to it from a sustainability angle. You were working with the fabric, and then it kind of moves on.
So I've always been completely honest that, the business almost started as a happy accident. And when I had the studio in Luton to begin with, I employed an amazing lady called Pat. And because I was interested in the fabrics and the functionality of the fabrics, and then I was interested in making a high quality garment, and kind of by accident I'd employed local people, you had an inherently sustainable company. We did a sort of review of what we were doing with our carbon footprint and our supply chain. And previously we'd been bringing so many fabrics in from China, from Japan, from Korea, really good technical fabrics, shipping them here to the studio, checking them, sending them to factories in Europe or in England, making the stuff, bringing it all back here, quality controlling it and sending most of it back to Japan. And, you know, incredible footprint. And now we're looking at actually how we can source local to where the fabrics are and the manufacturing is. And so again, it's allowing us to grow, but in a really considered way. I have so much respect for companies like Patagonia, who are so far ahead of us. What they're doing and the sort of benchmark in the industry is kind of really inspiring. I'd urge everyone to read Let My People Go Surfing and The Responsible Company, the Patagonia books. The lifeboat as an example. I didn't know how big it would be. That's one of the good and bad things about the internet, I think, and it weighed 1/2 a ton. Representing sometimes the ordinary, a designed way, you know, there's a value to that. You know, we did a project where I reused those transit blankets, you know, that you see removal companies have, or is it they're scruffed up in the back of their vans. Yeah. And actually they're made from all of the fibre offcuts from factories, and then they mulch them together. And I just remember looking at these things thinking, they're absolutely beautiful. And yet, you know, they're £3 and they're in the back of every removal van in England. The thought that there's all of the stuff that surrounds us all the time, let's use it.
How cool was that? We're going to be carrying on every week looking into alternative sustainable lifestyles. So if you like what we're doing, please subscribe so that we can keep making these videos. It was really great to see you, and cue the music. Bye.